Hello everyone, this is R2 centimetre foot with the Vex wheel modification. It's taken me about 4 or 5 days to build this. I had a lot of problems, so I'm hoping that this video will help you avoid those same problems, as well as maybe clarify some of the instructions that have been floating around out there. This is episode 10 of the Mark III R2 build. Why don't you join me and see how I got on. Right, these are the main, or most of the main parts needed for the centre ankle, the centre foot. These are an odd combination. So we have the Vex frame parts from the Patreon file, and these are printed as is. And I don't know if you can hear the printer going, but it's that's also printing the top parts now. I thought I had them done, but I haven't. So they're all off the Patreon. Now, the Patreon instructions for Vex are all American sizes. I live in the UK. I say American, Old English. There you go, Old English Imperial. Yeah, I live in the UK. We do everything metric. So luckily, somebody on Thingiverse has made a slight modification. And also to accommodate the fact you can't get hold of the Versa hubs very easily anymore. So these are all the, sorry, they're part of the Vex. So they're all the Vex frames. These are the Thingiverse pieces, and there's 2 of these, 4 of these, 2 of those, 4 spacers, and 4 of these end caps. On top of that, you also need an M8 bolt or M8 threaded rod, along with some screws. You also need some M4 screws of various lengths, some M4 square nuts, and you should be good to go. Now, even though we're using the Thingiverse parts, the instructions still follow, for the most part, the Vex frame wheel assembly on Patreon. So we'll start off with these out of the way. Oh, I said there's 2 of these. That's because I put one in already. I was trying to see if it works, and it does, with a bit of persuasion. This is the centre spacer between the 2 wheels. The other wheel would sit like that. That creates a space between the 2. Hoping it fits, because that's going to be really difficult to get back out again. So pop these to the side. Now I'm only going to be able to get so far in this segment. For you, it won't matter, but I can only get so far because I'm waiting for the bearings to turn up and for the top piece to print. So we'll get as far as I can now. So first of all, we need to put some M4 square nuts in this centre section here. And let me just find my thin ones. One more. Need 5. Come on, one more. This is what happens when you buy square nuts off Amazon. You don't quite know what you're going to get. Right, there we go. So 5 M4 square nuts. That then mounts here. Damn it. Take this back out. That then mounts like that, with the screws going through there. So let me just, of course, the screws being an indeterminate length. Let's say 20. Not quite long enough. Oh, sorry, that's 18. 20. 20 again, not quite long enough. Let's try the 20. That should be. Clear that countersink. 2 secs. There we go. Got to clean out the brims that have gone around these countersinks. I think I must have printed it with brims on the inside as well, but I don't normally have that set. So anyway. Pop. So it's that way round. So it fits. It might actually be too long. M4 times 20 is fine. And attach to the other side. These are identical both ways, so it doesn't matter which way around you don't need to mirror it. There's no left or right. They're the same way around both sides. So that's together. And then you need to put the one in there. And then we get the top here. This bit goes this way. Some more M4 square nuts, so that could be interesting. Right, so that M4 square nuts dropped all the way down into here. These 5 reasonable. I'm gonna have just enough of these, I think. I mean, you could force them to the thicker ones to fit. There. Right. And 4 times 20 again. Let's pop that square nut back in. Well, thank you. Another M4 times 20 goes through there. At least I'm assuming it's an M4 20. 20 is too long. So 20 is too long for the top. Let's try the 18. 18 might also be too long. Right, 18 looks okay, but it is slightly proud, so an 18 would work. So that's the main frame built. And that's actually as far as I can get until the bearings turn up. So let's cut across to here. And I've got the Omni wheels. So if you don't know how this works, the 2 Omni wheels will go together like this, but properly pushed together, and it'll be a set of 4 like this that are locked. These are locked in sync, so they'll roll together as one big wheel, and the same with the 2 on the back. Now, what I need to do is I need to put a bearing here. So I think, hang on, bring the other instructions up. Yeah, so I need to have a bearing sat here. So I don't want to put this other side on yet. Could actually push the bearing through to this side. So what I will do is pop this bit into here. Oh wow, that went a lot easier. This bit into here. That went suspiciously easy. Okay, it's a bit tighter than as tight as I was expecting, but so it seems to be slightly off. When in doubt, hit it hard with a hammer. So it's hard to tell if this has gone all the way down or not, because part of me was expecting the black bits, these black bits here, to sit quite deep into these recesses, and they're not. I think that this center spindle here should line up with a halfway mark between the 2 tyres, the 2 wheels. It's not quite there. What about you? Oh, you're not nowhere near. But I need to give this a bit of a sand, which could be interesting because I had to hammer this one in before it was on screen. Although, yeah, I'm going to give this a bit of sand because this needs to sit slightly further in. This one's sort of done it. I'm also going to have to sand this side because I'm reluctant to hit the other wheel from the other side to crack it in. Yeah. I'll sand this a bit and then we'll see if we can get it to fit. Okay, so I gave up on this bit. It just was not, I sanded it, I hit it with a hammer, it's really smooth and I've taken away lots and lots of material. It's still not going into the wheel. So what I did is I reprinted the pieces on the same print. Thanks, R2. I reprinted the pieces on the same printer that printed this piece. Even though they're two functionally identical printers running the same software, the same hardware, the same firmware, running at the same printer speed, using the same material, using the same manufactured hot ends, mostly bought at different points, same nozzles. They're as functionally identical as I can make them. There's obviously something with the other printer that just slightly off true for circles, and I tested on these as well and the same problem. So I reprinted all three, and just for a quick test, get it off there. So just a quick test, and you can see that already just slides in. It needs a bit of sand in for the registration points to go into, but it's pretty much there. So I can just tidy this up, get rid of the tree supports, and now become a big fan of tree supports for some reason. Yeah, get rid of the tree supports, clean these up, and clean the inside out there, and then should be good to go. I'm still waiting for the bearings. They should be here later on today. And as you can see, this is printed, which means we can build this. And I've printed this at the same settings as the ankle, so really heavy, really thick. So it's thicker than this, and that's mainly because there's a lot of force going through here, which is the ankle bolt. Yeah, I'm trying to think which way around it would be. Let's assume this way around. The ankle bolt goes through there, and that's the rest of this part of the centre ankle. So there's a lot of force being transitioned here. I don't want this to give up, and as it moves further down, I mean, structurally this has got the strength. It's not as many walls, but I don't want to make it too heavy either. But we'll see. So that should be fine. The transition point from there to there, don't know. The only other thing I need to try and dig out is some M8 threaded rod. I think I've still got some around. I have not got any around. I have to go get some. M8 threaded rod, or I can get M8 just plain rod. Just smooth rod, which is what these are designed for. You put the rod through there, and they would poke out here, like that, essentially. If you're doing the threaded rod, I think you just cut this bit off and then put this. Well, in fact, I don't think you put that on. I'm following the instructions off Thingiverse about how to put these together, and they're a little vague. In fact, it's just pictures. So I know that a bearing goes here, and then another bearing will go here, and then that gets put on top, and then so essentially we end up with this arrangement like that. So we'll have bearing, 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 but the bill of material says 8 bearings. Well, if I double that, it's only 6. So I think there's supposed to be 2 bearings in here. It's supposed to be 2 bearings here, but it doesn't say that, and the pictures don't show that. So I'm a little confused, if I'm honest. I think it must be 2 bearings, because that again gets poked in. Yeah, it must be 2 bearings in there. So I'll tidy these up. I'll get that in there so we're at the same point. And once the bearings turn up, we can start messing around. So while I'm waiting for the bearings to turn up, I thought I'd turn my attention to looking at the top frame part. Now, they're all numbered. Number 2, 1, and number 3. So I've cleaned these 3 pieces up and given them a good sand and a good file. They fit in like that. So that needs to fit in with the 2 the right way round. It doesn't matter which way round that is, but as long as it's the right way round to read. And then you read it literally 1, 2, 3. And these pieces push together with a bit of aspiration. You want them tight because there's no need for them to come apart. But before I do that, and drop some of the bits on the floor, we need to put some M4 nuts in here, the flat heads. I've only got one of the flat ones left. So I did a quick experiment. I got one of the thicker ones and I can force it in. Not ideal, but if you're short on them like I am, and I don't want to wait another day for an Amazon delivery, and nor can I find them anywhere locally. Seriously, B&Q, Homebase, Toolstation, Screwfix, nobody sells square nuts. In fact, they sell very few small form factor screws. It's awful. I wonder why everyone goes to Amazon or eBay. So yeah, I'm just going to line it up like that. Get one of these. Push it in as far as so it's now flush. If you have something pointier that's not a pair of pliers, that'd be easier. Now, apologies, the camera's now going to shake. And sorry, it's this bit. Make sure it's pushed down. And probably won't show up on camera, but that's now in. You can see the shine, they're in, and the holes line up so you can put a screw in. So just double check. So that one's worked. So this is something you've got to be careful of if you do this. This solution is that because you've forced it in, you've now got nowhere to move the square nut. Yeah, there's no chance of getting out. Let's just give it another tap in. Sorry guys. Right. Still slightly off. Right, I can see what the issue is. Careful I don't ruin the screw head. So that's been a 50% success rate. Just need to, it's literally half a mil. Oh, that's a bad idea. The other option is that I heat it up and push it in like a heat set insert. It's perfectly valid to do. Might need to do that just on this one. Because the one you showed me, the one you saw me do on camera has gone in fine. This is the one I did off camera as a test, and it's just slightly off. Ever so slightly off. It's gone in the square nut at this point. It's just not going past the square nut. I'm going to play around a bit with this. Solves a lot of problems. Right, so that was pretty painful. I've put those really thick normal M4 square nuts into here. I had to actually take one half off to compress it in. And honestly, the hardest bit was actually trying to get it to line up enough that I could then squish it in. After that, it's fine. So they're in, which is good. That's back together, which is good. Why does my phone always go off when I'm recording? They're now all in. Actually, to be fair, that going off probably means that my bearings are here. So this will just go together like this. He says. I'll put it right way around. So I have filed these, I have sanded them, so they're as smooth as they're going to get. And I want them fairly tight anyway, because I don't want these to come apart. Okay. Why aren't you going in that last little bit? Oh, there we go. Make sure that is level, but you can see it goes together like that. So we've got 1, 2, 3. Might just need to push that together a bit more. I was worried about breaking the table. Right. Here we go. So now we just test that it goes in there. And of course it doesn't. Right. Okay. Yeah, and he's pushing together a bit more. This should be flat. So yeah, you can see there's still a bit of a gap here. As I said, I did sand these. Is that enough? Okay. I'll get the bigger vise out and vice grip it together when I find it. So I'll see you in a minute. Right, bearings are here. These are 608ZZs, which means they are, this properly, 8 by 22 by 7 mil. So I'm going to see if it fits in here. Crying out loud. Alright, I think they're all going to be the same, aren't they? You know, sometimes I wonder why I do this. Any ideas? I had this problem before on Chopper, that these would not fit into circular sized holes. And at the time, I assumed it was the material, because one material was fine, the other one wasn't. But this smacks me more of the printer. No, I don't need to go. According to this, needs to go level here. So why is there such a deep hole there then? I don't think the pictures he's showing on here match what I've got printed out. because the pictures don't have these screw holes, which I'm assuming line up with these screw holes here. In fact, they do. It's not even going to push in, is it? Right, I'm going to have to get the Dremel out and just go round and round and round like this with the Dremel until it fits. I want it snug, obviously, but I need to be able to push it in. I don't want to get stuck halfway and then have a wonky bearing, or get stuck halfway and then need it further up. I need it stuck in place. But I'd rather decide where it gets stuck by using glue. Although once it's all bolted together, it can't go anywhere anyway. Okay, I'll get the Dremel out then and Dremel out all these holes. Okay. This is basically the easy one. Oh, okay. Dremel it is then. One down. 5 to go. There we go. Done. So there are 2 bearings in there. And the reason is, if I can find it, this bit goes in there and should end up level with the inner part of the bearing, inner part of this bit. It wasn't with one bearing, so I've put 2 bearings in. That's now level. So there are 8 bearings. So they're all in. That got it most of the way, and then a hammer, rubber mallet to take it the rest of the way. So they're all in, which is good. Which now means I can move on to the actual next step, which is putting the other wheels on and putting these bits together and then bolting the whole thing together. Finally. Now we've got the bearings in. As I said, there are 2 in there. So the first things first is we put this spacer, giant spacer, in there. Same on the other side. And then we take one of these, and that should cap off this end. Ah, it's off kilter. No. Come back to that one. Right. See, that one's gone off kilter as well. It says I'm pushing it in. I'll just leave it up. Flat bladed. Oh. Well, crap. Yeah. Crap. Well, it's got to come out then. Yeah. Well, that's annoying. So I can glue it back together to find the... I think this is a case of too many walls because there's no infill. So therefore it didn't attach the infill onto here. So it's just walls on top of walls. Which is actually a little worrying. Put that to the side for a minute. Let's work out how I'm going to save this one. Same thing, isn't it? Let's gouge my fingers out at the same time.
"20 minutes later."
Let's recovered that one. Right. Let's try this again. Actually get it lined up. That's better. It moved again. I felt it move. It's just twisting at the last second. Oh, that's a noise I don't want to hear. That's definitely a noise I don't want to hear.
1 hour later.
Right, attempt number 3. I'm going to take a break. New day. I've taken a break. My hand is fine. Just a slight cut. It bled like anything, but it's fine. Didn't even bother trying to stick that back together. Printed the new one. So all I need to do now is just do the same on that with the Dremel. That's that done. I also found some M8 threaded rod. I was looking for M8 bolts, but threaded rod worked just as well. And that was 12 centimeters. You need 100. Sorry, you need 10 centimeters, so 100 mil. So about that to go between the feet. And this is 35. So what I might do is chop that one down and chop that down. So I've still got some usable stuff left. These are left over from BB-8 actually, the head neck. I have put these two parts together. So I actually managed to get these in the end as well. I just had to line them up at the very last point, and then I whacked it with the rubber mallet, and it locks into position. What I might also do is go around with these screw holes as well. I wasn't going to use them, but I had a thought this morning that if this is indeed a weak point, then let's put the screws in there as well to keep it all locked together. I mean, they're all locked in place now. You've got the registration mark, so it shouldn't move, break. Just an extra bit of security in my own head. Probably won't make a blind bit of difference, but in my own head, that's what it's there for. So we've got the one end cap on. We've got the two pieces pushed together, and I ended up pushing this together by just putting all my weight on it, I actually stood on it in the end and you can just hear it click into place. And I know it's roughly right because you won't see it on camera. You might do. There's the line where the two Vex wheels join, and the centre spindle is just shy of touching that line. So that's as far down as it's going to go, and I've got about that much of a gap, which is fine. I've checked already, and that's not going to pose a problem. So what I'm going to do now is clean that out, get the bearing back in there, put the other wheel together, and then all that needs to happen then is these need capping off. So we'll cap those off. I don't know why I'm doing this on camera because it never goes well on camera. Yeah, we'll cap those off, and then I'll cut these down just with a hacksaw, and then we're ready to go. The next step will be putting them. Well, the next step is coming back to here actually, because we need to we'll put the threaded rods through here, and then these will get the caps added on as well. And because I'm not using the smooth rod and using threaded rod, I don't need those. I'm going to use M8 nuts and washers, and that, to be honest, I feel that's probably a bit stronger than a printed cap. So yeah, that's. Does that sound noisy? It probably does, but imagine when it's in a convention and you're not going to hear it. You're not going to hear it over the noise of a convention. To be fair, you're not going to hear it most times anyway. R2 rattles a lot. Chop, sand, build. Right, so I've jumped ahead a bit here because I'm trying to work out how long these threaded rods need to be. And I'm looking at the design on Thingiverse, and these things should poke through here, and they don't. So I find out that some do, some don't. No, they don't fit through there. So I think this needs drilling out. But regardless, so I've got the short bit of threaded rod, and actually it's just about the right length, I think. And I'll show you what I've done. I've gone washer, then this thing. Probably already see what the problem's going to be. And then a washer. And then a nut on top. Don't do it up tight, because you need to line this up. So these slot in here with the countersunk bit at the top, lining up with the square nut like that. And you think, great, that's in. So you tighten it up. The Vex wheel's getting stuck on the top here. So what you need to do is undo it slightly, hold it that way, let gravity drop it down, and tighten it back up. And you think, that's now running fine. Great. Right, now you put the whole weight of the droid on. So I'm a little confused because these spacers are supposed to be going in here, and I don't need them because I'm beginning to think I haven't pushed this together far enough, but I can't physically push it together any further. So I don't need the spacers. What I need to do is to stop this axle dropping. And it doesn't turn, it's the wheels that are turning, so if I can hold it in place, it should be okay. So I need something. Essentially I need to make that smaller. I need to make it 8mm and capped off almost, so that it slides on rather than hooks on, because I think I can see where he was going with this. He wanted a bit of play in it, so it almost like suspension. The problem is it's not going to work like suspension. It's just going to sit flat and rub against the top. So I need... They're too big, so they're not any good. They're also... Oh, if I glue that on... No, I'm relying on the glue, aren't I? I'm relying on the glue. Let's have another look. This in. Take you off. I want you back over there. Over there. See what I mean? I think a thread through for these would work better than they just drop down like that, because what's the point of having these then to screw down, because there's nothing stopping that. I get the point. It was supposed to be these. It's supposed to stop it lifting up because it can't physically come out that little hole. And but I don't need this spacer part of it. I just need this end cap. I could drill it all the way through to 8mm and chop it off, but it's still too big to go through there, so I'd have to drill this hole bigger, which makes Richard's problem worse. So if you are glued there... No, it's just glue, isn't it? It's just glue, it's not really strong enough. There's probably someone shouting at the screen right now going, "You need to do this!" And I really wish I could hear you. I mean, with the washers on and the nuts on it, it does make it tight. But all it takes is that one jolt on a curb. And that's it. It slams down and you're not going to be able to... Bizarrely, that seems to be rolling fine. Right. Why are you now rolling fine? Why is that suddenly sitting much lower? Oh. Because I'm an idiot. Because these should go that way. Form in the circle like that. I had them the wrong way around. That's probably why they're thinking, why is it going to drop out? So they should be that way round.
1 hour later.
Right. We're going on fusion in a second. Right, so while I'm here, let's do this. So this is the centre spindle. It's got 2 bearings in. So we just need to line up these registration marks with these registration marks. And luckily you can see right through. Excuse me, I need to go stand on this. So I stood on it, and it's now nearly there. So what I'm going to do now is very gently smack it with a hammer. I seem to be using a hammer a lot on this, don't I? But once that's down to the same level the other one is, so they're the same overall width, and then just pop the end cap on. So let me do that now. That's on, and I don't know how well you'll see, but it is just slightly shy of the joining part of these two. So now this can go on. Before we do that, likewise, if you do come up with any suggestions for this, it doesn't require me printing of bushing, put it in the comments. I'll have already done it by then, but it might help other people. Because I'm going to link to this Thingiverse thing in the description. I think overall it's a good idea. It just needs a few design tweaks. I don't need these, but is that because I haven't pushed these together far enough? Right. I'm going to gently thwack this with a hammer. Yeah, the hammer's back again. Done. And you're wondering why I'm not doing this on video? Because whenever I record me doing this, it goes wrong. So all I've done is just got a rubber mat and just gently whacked it in the middle, and it's gone down into position. I will still put these screws through. I just need to work out what screws they need to be. Probably American screws, which I don't have. You ever feel like you just wasted your time? So I've got them. Don't worry about this. That's where the print failed. That just needs gluing on top. This is the skin. So skin's like this, and this bit rests on these two frame parts here. So it sits like that, and then you turn it over, and then that slots in and locks the whole thing together, and then you put the screws through, bolts all together. Great. Except that the wheels are getting caught on the inside of the skin, which is not very good. So I'm a little confused, or I was a little confused, because these are apart from how I've made the wheels, this is the Vex frame. Vex wheel frame designed for these wheels. There's no different skin. So I asked the question in the Michael Bradley group, because use the hive mind, and it turns out I need different ones of these. After I drop them, I need different ones of these. So that is what's currently printing. Right, here we go. So you can see the difference. So these are the new ones. These are the original ones. So these ones are 5mm further up than these ones. I think I'm still going to need the bushing. Because everything glue them in, isn't it? Okay. I should check to see if these fit before I did this. Right. I don't know how well this is going to show, but you can see the height difference. This is sitting 5mm higher up. In fact, you can see it here. So I'll replace these ones, and then we'll pop it back in the shell and see how it looks. There we go. Also, less chance of catching here as well. So, of course, they need screwing down, don't they? Right, need to be aware of that fact when I tip this over. Much better. Thanks, Doug. Right. So now we're finally in the position we can actually get the shell on properly. Yeah. Get the shell on. Am I missing anything? Right, you will notice on the shell that you've got this cutout here. That's where a plate goes on, which has the half moon. Now, on my styrene droid, these are hot glued down rather than using screws, because I take them off and replace them. So R2s are completely white. My alternate droid Ace, it's a white sort of background, but the half moon is like silver and blue. So the R2 blue and the R2 silver, aluminium. So I need to be able to remove these. Ideally, I'd like these to be magnetic, but there's not much room to add magnets in. And I certainly don't want to reprint the shell. I just want to get this done now. So what I'm thinking of doing is just hot gluing them on. Which I know sounds a bit like, ugh, hot glue. But that's what I think I'm going to do. The other option is, so what I will do is probably put the. Actually, tell you what, let me get this shell and I'll show you. Here we go. So this is the shell. The foot plate. So on R2 this is completely white. On Ace this is blue, silver. And you can see you've got the screw holes here. M4 square nut goes in there and drops down. And then it gets screwed on from the back. Now, every time I change it into Ace and R2, or between Ace and R2, I don't have to take the foot off to change this over. So I probably will just hot glue it. And what I might do is just put a tiny bit of M4 threaded rod, either super glued here or here, maybe, or even just stuck into the square nut itself. So to give it a registration point, there's something else to hold on to. So it's not just held on only by the hot glue. It's got something else just kind of holding it on. But there's one on each side. So generally, what you're supposed to do, as I said, is screw it through from the inside there onto the plate, and then that's it, done. That's this side now. So these we don't need. I will pop the mod that Doug sent me in the description, along with everything else I've modded, including the bushings. Side. So the next thing we need to do is, well, what I need to do is sort out this. And this is where I have the print fail about halfway along. So that needs gluing down. Let's be fair. You really gonna notice? But no, I don't want to leave the infill showing. Yeah, so I'm just going to quickly glue that down, and then we can actually look properly at doing this. Which will involve making sure this is in. I also need to get the center ankle off the droid, because this needs to be attached to the center ankle before getting bolted to here. So that's dry. What we need to do now is bolt all this together. I've got the ankle off the body. So the first thing we need to do is put this into here. I've decided that this is my front because this is the nicer edge compared to there. And the 1, 2, 3 is at the front because these are optional ankle locks. So you just slot in there like that. And then that would slot in there. Like so. And then we just bolt up through there. Notice the wheels have been taken out. But before we do that, we need to put some M8 threaded rod through here. And what I'm going to do is push it all the way through, measure off how much I need, and then cut it just about flush. In fact, not quite flush. I'm going to give myself... Can I give myself... No, I can't give myself a bit of leeway. So the threaded rod's going to have to go through. What I will do is cut into slots on the end of the threaded rod. So if when I take the ankle off the painting, I can just get a screwdriver. There we go. So that's now flush with that. So I'm going to mark that there to chop it off, and then that will be in at that point. And is it going to travel? I don't think it's going to travel. It can't. There's no way it can really go, to be fair. So I think gluing it in is optional. But just bear in mind that if you glue it in, you now can't remove the ankle from this top frame. So if you need to do any maintenance, this is coming with it. But I will make this removable for painting. And then see how we get on. Has it got to be flush? Does it have to be flush? Yes, it needs to be flush. Mark you. And I know I need to cut on the inside of those two lines. Right, so that's been cut down, and I've hacksawed a bit of a thing on there. So now, start it off with my hand. Actually get quite far just using my hands. And then, yeah, probably should have dremeled it. And I've done it on both sides as well, so I can unscrew it from either side. There we go. So that's ready. So pop this in. This will be interesting. Pop you in. Right. So that's the top frame's now attached in. So having these pretty big M4 threaded rods sticking out doesn't help. Now, push that into that slot there. Hopefully, yeah, that should have lined up because it can go in one way. So now that's in. Let's try the 20s. Screwdriver away. Get 20's fine. So these are M4 times 20. And just keep screwing down, they will eventually tighten up. I'm conscious of that, I'm trying to tighten the screws as tight as I possibly can, while the whole thing rests on 4 M4 threaded rods. They're quite long. What happens here? That's just turning, that's not catching or anything. I don't think 20s are enough. Just M4 bolts. M4 bolts. Doesn't say which ones. convinced they were going through. So maybe they're not 20s, maybe they're 18s. And I'm wondering, just pushing the edge out. And they are definitely lined up. No, 20s aren't long enough. Right, 20s aren't long enough. Let's see what else I've got. Got some 30s, but they're not countersunk. 30s is probably too long, isn't it? Right, the countersink doesn't appear to matter. Right, 30s appear okay. They'd be better being countersunk, but handhead seems to be alright. For some reason this side's going down deeper than this side. In on this centre ankle. I'm wondering if it's not tight. I don't think it's tightening down.
Two hours later.
That should be working fine. Just wondering why it's rocking on here so much.
2 hours later.
Through. Not quite that thick. Some of it's a natural wobble of the ankle. Actually, it's quite a lot of wobble on that ankle. I think a bit of foam in between might help. You appear to be the problem one. No, I just rounded it out. It's trashed. That was okay. Now.
One hour later.
We're trashed. Let's see if I can get you out now. You ever wonder why we're called Rage Print? This is why.
One eternity later.
Going for square nuts spinning inside. You can tell I'm getting tired now because I'm making mistakes. Bye bye. I give up for today. I'm going to put this down and ignore it for the rest of the evening. Right, it's been a few days. I'm now back at the position where I was a couple of days ago. I've reprinted a new one of these. Yeah, I just took a couple of days off from it because it was just annoying me. So that one's for the bin. Printed the new one, and just to make sure, I printed it twice. Then it failed, but I printed it up twice, one on each printer, and I'm happy with this one. There's very little play, very little wobble. I had to drill the hole out. Originally, I drilled the first hole out as M8 because it's an M8 bolt, and it's a bit loose. So I did the other side as 7.5, and that seems better. But either way, that's not slipping out like it was looking like it was trying to do on the old one. So we're back at the same position we were earlier on for you in the video, for me a few days ago. So I'm going to put the... I'm going to put these in. Bring the instructions back up so I don't miss anything. Right. I've also got some new M4 square nuts. The flat ones this time, so not squishing them in. Although I do now have to be careful of the fact they will just quite easily slip out. And they've got to be lined up, which is a chore I'm willing to deal with right now. So they're lined up. This is my front. Really matters. Let's put this in. Metal filings everywhere. Now let's put this on. Right. It's sitting flat here, which is what I want. So that's all in line with each other. That's what we want, because this is the bit people will see. But I've got to make sure that this is also flush against that inner frame. I still don't know what size bolts screws I need, so I'm going to change it up for... Actually no, before I do this, let's work it out. Are 18s big enough? No, 18s will just poke through, so 18s are not big enough. Sorry, they're not 18s, they're 10s. These are 18s. '18s just about poke through the bottom, not enough to get there. Edging my way back towards the 20s again, aren't I? 20 pokes through fine. And will screwdriver. I can't tell if that's gone in or not. You're all lined up. That's not even tightening up, so it should not be this hard. I don't think the 20s are long enough either. They look like they are. They're not catching the square nuts. $25s. Let's try 25s. I'm going to go with these 25s. Yeah, I'm going to go with the M4 25s. That seems to work a lot better without me having to really pound down onto it and potentially cause damage to this square nut enclosure, which is what I think happened before. And for some reason they do take a bit of coaxing to come out. See the damage I caused. Already feeling better about this. But we'll see how the destroyed screw hole goes. The destroyed screw hole doesn't seem too bad. It's obviously warped out of shape from the heat of the grinder, but it is screwing through. So hopefully, if I haven't moved the square nut in the process, yes, I know I should secure the square nuts in position using hot glue or super glue. But sometimes square nuts wear out. Right, last one in. And over tightening because I don't want to round out the square, the hex heads. Whoa. Still more. I was expecting that to be tighter down. Yeah, there's a lot of play there, isn't there? I'm not sure that I should be doing that. So if you're flat to the floor, still the same wobble, isn't it? Why am I getting the wobble? You should be right. Okay. Spacers. I'm going to put some spacers in. So the wobble is moving down, so it's the fact this isn't deep enough. So does this need sanding to go deeper? The skin is not tight to the ankle, so foam rubber installed between the frame and the skin to hold it all tight. So I think some foam rubber here will create that extra bit of gap to stop that wobbling in place. Foam rubber or a failed print? Foam rubber, I think. Let me see if I can find some. See if this works. Can't think of where I got this from. I won't stick it down yet. Just in case I need to either trim more off or find some thinner stuff. Let's have a look. Rubber might be a bit too thick. That's annoying. Perfect size. Maybe a little bit? No. Oh, no, I know what it is. Right. I'll do that. I'm not accounting for the width of that. I'm not accounting for the width of this. That's better. That's much better. So, bit of foam. Way too close to the camera. A bit of foam, which is 5mm thick, cut into a rough shape, accounting for the rough square shape, accounting for the where the inner frame needs to sit and clip into there. And it ends up looking a bit like that. And that's, I mean, the wobble you're seeing there is actually from the ankle connection. So again, I could actually put, back when I come to paint it, well, no, I don't need to, because with the paint it increases layers. The paint will get rid of most of that wobble. Some of that might be from where I drilled it out for the M8 as well, rather than a 7.5. But a little bit of wobble is going to be okay in this face, because I can sort that out with paint and maybe like a bit of tape, or just basically build up a layer to just create that layer back, create that tension back in, tightness. Right, so after all that, we're nearly there. We're nearly there. So let's put the wheels in, making sure the countersinks line up. Do the nuts up. Right, and being careful of the fact that it's now the balancing until the other wheels are in. Right, now what we need to do is put some screws in. But I don't know how long they need to be. So, let's go for the 20s again, because that seems to be the default. They're not long enough. They're not long enough. 30s. 30s are way too long. 25s. I don't have enough of those 25s left. Oh no, I've got 4. That's fine. That is fine. Let's check the 25s. Yeah. Okay. So M4 times 25. those in. So he goes out. Right, put those in, and those should let's tighten these two up. Bear in mind the ankle probably would be a lot more stable if it wasn't resting on 4 long M4 threaded rods at the moment. That's my choice because of what I do with the battery box, the battery holder. Right. Finally, one R2 centre foot. So you want to spin on the spot. Bear in mind the centre of the spot will be R2's middle. So it's fine. Then forward, side to side. Side to side definitely runs smoother than forward's got that. Forward and backwards got that kind of wibble on it, and that's where these aren't. The wheels aren't. Sorry, these sideways wheels, they're not tapered to continually form the curve of the main wheel. So when it runs over, you get the budum 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 budum. Just hear that. They're tapered. I think that will probably go away. But I'm pleased with that. I'm not going to put it onto R2 yet because I need to build the feet drives. If I put it on R2 like it is now, it would tip the body back too far. Or actually, it would be a case of the centre foot sitting there and dry feet. The ankle's got nothing to sit on for the main feet, and it just go. But you see me put the ankle on anyway, so you know how that goes on. This will go on when the feet drives are made, which is probably next. That was a pain. That really was a pain. Yeah, that. Can you see me? That was a pain. That was a real pain in the neck to do. So let me quickly go over, just in case there's any confusion in the video, what I've done. Very quickly. So, bought Vex Omni wheels. Vex frame from the Michael Badley Patreon files. These bits that the wheels are bolted into are 5mm risers. I will put a link to those on the description. These are sent to me by Doug. I don't know if they're on in the Patreon or in the Michael Badley file section on Facebook anyway, but I'll put a link to them to download them anyway, as well as a link to the Thingiverse files, which are these essentially homemade Versa hubs for here, and the other side, and then the centre spindle. So Thingiverse files, Vex frame files from the Patreon, custom changed 5mm risers to accommodate the Vex frame. Don't use those ones from the Vex frame, they're not high enough. The normal Mark III foot shell with some foam attached. M4x25 screws for here, and to attach the frame, to attach this wheel frame to the top frame of the ankle here. M8 bolt going through here. I can't remember what the length was, but basically the length is from here to here. In fact, I can just measure that, can't I? So I've got it here. M8 bolt. just under 60 millimeters. So just under 60 millimeters, 6 centimeters. So an M8 bolt that goes through there, roughly 60 centimeters, 60 millimeters. Put it all together. I haven't missed any other screws, have I? No, that's it. Put it all together, and you end up with this. Eventually, with much swearing, screaming, pain, cut fingers, etc. Now it just shows my desk is on a wonk. Well, I knew my desk wasn't level, but yeah, got there eventually. Hopefully, me going through all this pain and all the changes that oh yeah, the bushings, that's the thing. I'll put a link to the bushings on there for the Versas. Yeah, hopefully the pain of me going through all this means that you don't have to go through this pain. You can see what I did wrong or what I did do correctly, and you can just skip to the part where it all goes right. Just remember, with any type of droid building, whether it's 3D printed, styrene, even aluminium or wood, every droid is slightly different. You know, every printer prints things differently. You know, even two identical sidewinders printed things differently, which gave me problems. So you might not have the same problems with things like, you know, the printer and its accuracy for doing circles. Or you might find that actually it's not very good at doing top layers or whatever. Every printer is going to have different problems. Every droid is going to have different problems. The problems that I had, hopefully you could avoid by sourcing that, you know, not doing what I did until it works. But at the end of it, you should end up with a center ankle that looks center foot that looks like this, or any droid part. Just persevere, and if it gets annoying, you know, like you saw with this, where I got annoyed, and you can fix it. You can rebuild bits. This is for the bin. There's nothing I can do about this. This screw's stuck. The square nuts are pushed in. The whole thing's trash. Just printed a new one. Started again. Walked away. Came back. It's fine. I've got it done. The other thing to bear in mind is the Mark III instructions are, I'm going to say not complete, because a lot of them will say look at the Mark II instructions, but then the Mark II instructions are just slightly different, or the Mark II files are just slightly different. It also doesn't tell you a lot of the measurements you need for a lot of these things, especially with the fact I was using, you know, different mods, which again didn't really tell you what size screws you needed for a lot of bits. It kind of assumed you already knew. Just keep experimenting, keep practicing, find the right screw, and if it does screw up, as I said, you can print it and try again, or with a bit of styrene, you can rebuild it with a bit of styrene and try again. You'll be surprised how many droids are bodged together, that are held together with hot glue and electrical tape in places, and yet they still look good, and they still work, and they still wow people. So keep going, you will get there. And with that, I'm going to sign off. I'm going to take a break. And I'll see you again soon. Thank you for watching. Bye bye for now.